Oh, here we are. Okay, so this is number 168 of 365, and it's called You Make the Story, and I start in 5. Here we go, dude. I'm excited. Here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that wherever you are is doing good for you. It's me, it's Paul Carpenter, and this is number 168 of 365, and it's called You Make the Story. Okay, this is a really good episode thing, whatever you want to call these things, but this one's good. For years, since I was 10, 12, 13 years old, I've been reading the books, the Think and Grow Rich, the How to Win Friends and Influence People, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, a million books. The Tipping Point is another one. I could go on and on with books, but one of the things that they talk about a lot is, one is mantras, like mantras that you keep saying to yourself about how you believe in yourself and what you think to yourself. That's one of them. And the other one is knowing it before it happens. And another one is just stepping up to the plate. So those 3 things are kind of what I'm talking about today. I hope you stay with me. This is actually pretty powerful information. And I didn't understand it. It's taken me 45 years to understand this information. So hopefully I'm about to share some like mind-blowing shit. Okay? And I'm not kidding. This is some pretty heavy stuff. Jove, thank you for saying and listening. Here it goes. So the whole concept behind the mantra idea is, and I've heard them say that, I've heard lots of people say this, you can't just say a mantra. You can't just have it in your head. It has to be something that you connect to emotionally. And I've always been like, what does that mean? Connect to it emotionally. They're like, you have to say it with passion. Like, I live in abundance. Does absolutely nothing for you. You could scream it at the top of your lungs. You can do all these things, and it means nothing. Because in the end, saying it and not feeling it, even though you're trying to be emotional about, I'm in abundance, even though you're like homeless on the street and you're fucking broke as fuck, you're like, I'm living in abundance. And you're like, but I'm not. And that's where it stops. This whole thing, everything that I'm talking about today, the idea of you create the thing, you create this dream or whatever I wrote here, what I write, I said, you make the story, because you, in the end, make the story in every way. It's ridiculous, okay? So, the first part is the mantra. Whatever you're going to say to yourself, whatever it is that you want to believe, you have to know it, believe it, feel it, and exercise it in your mind as though it's already, it just is. And I know that's hard to do, which is why people are like, oh, create a dream board. Oh, do this. Oh, do that. And by all means, every single one of those actions are positive for the ultimate goal of understanding it within yourself. And the reason they say build a dream board, they say, hey, if you want a Lamborghini, you go and you put Lamborghini pictures everywhere, and you go to the Lamborghini store and you sit in the Lamborghini and you smell the Lamborghini, and you even get a test drive so you know what it feels like, you know what it sounds like, you know everything about it, so that you can constantly obsess. Because what happens is that your unconscious mind starts to make it happen. So that was number 1. Number 2 was, I think number 2 was really like knowing it on a level that is as if you've already attained it. And I've heard people say this. I've heard people, oh, you got to know it to attain it. But I didn't know what it meant. And once again, and this is how I understand now why they're talking about when you're wealthy and you start having a ton of money, it starts to become easier for you to understand more and more money is just, it's simple. Because you've reached a different plateau in your thought process of what is possible for you. And then in turn, you're making the story. So if you believe in some way, shape, or form, if you have something in your mind that says, I'm not worth this, or I can't achieve that, or I don't deserve this, you'll never fucking get it. So if you're like, oh, but I live in abundance, and then 2 seconds later you're like, but I'm homeless, and I really don't deserve to be abundant and have lots of cool stuff, you just fucked yourself. This is why yesterday I talked about like stopping yourself in the middle of a negative thought and being like, no negative thought. This is how I feel about it, and this is how you're going to go with it, and now I'm going to keep moving forward in my place and what I want. And that reaches me to this next concept. And it's 2 stories. And the first one is, the universe is always going to give you opportunities constantly. And those opportunities are for you to determine, this is where your free will comes through, for you to determine whether you take that opportunity or not. Like, I could have hung out with this guy and this girl who had been staying here, and they were trying to introduce me to their friends and sixties, and I just had a weird feeling, and I just wasn't into it, and I just knew that would have like taken things way out of like proportion. It would have ruined my relationship. So whatever, I already knew that I didn't want to do that. But what I'm trying, another story is that a friend of mine calls me one day and she goes, man, I'm having the worst time. And I'm like, what's going on? And she goes, I can't seem to get from point A to point B without there being a million things in between before I get there. And I'm like, what do you mean? I mean, like long-term goals? And she's like, no, literally, like just from my house to, let's say, the gym. And on the way there, and this was her quote, I feel like the universe is constantly putting people in front of me for me to stop and help them. And I was like, I see it like this. And she's like, what's that? And I go, the universe is challenging you to see if you really want the thing that you really are going after. And she goes, what do you mean? And I go, well, it's really simple, right? You said you're going from your house to, let's say, the gym. But you said that from the house to the gym, there's like all these things that happen along the way, like the girl with the flat tire, or the old lady that you opened the door for and helped her out of and then took her to this car and then packed all of her stuff in her car for her. Or the kid who was lost and didn't know where mommy was, and you decided that you had to be the one to help. So all of those things was the universe testing you to see if you really wanted to get to the gym. And she's like, well, I thought the universe was putting all these people in front of me because I'm supposed to be this beautiful person for the universe and for this world that I live in. And I said, yes, but what is it that you want to do? You see, there's like 2 things here. There's the idea of you wanting to be this beautiful person and help the universe, i.e., I'm going to empty my cup. I'm going to empty my cup. I'm going to empty my cup and empty my cup. And then when I want to drink, there's nothing there, right? Or I can actually work on myself. I can work on this project and work on this thing. I can get to the gym. I can lose the weight. I can get my certification, right? I can then become the certified teacher or coach for someone who wants to be in the gym. But I couldn't have done that if I would have gone here and there and blah, 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 blah. And that brings me to my final point. And that's this. If you're going to succeed at something, do only one thing. Only one thing. Don't try and be a painter and an actor and a magician and, like me. That's what I've done my entire life. I've done a million things. I've gone all over the place. I've done a million things, but I've never solidified anything. I've never, and that's the kicker. And the other part of it is it, on some level, that's a beautiful thing, by the way. Never solidifying anything, never having any kind of weird hold on anything is actually sometimes a good thing. It can be a very beautiful thing. Look at Siddhartha, the first Buddha, leaving his princely life and his wife and his kids to go live in the forest. What he accomplished for 7 years in the forest and losing all his weight and doing it wasn't good, and he recognized that. But the point is that sometimes having nothing, or sometimes being separate from the things that you think you need, can give you a different viewpoint about what it is you actually need and what you actually want, right? So the difference between needs and wants. So that's today's little video. I hope that you get something out of it. I hope that it gives you some kind of, every single situation that you have in front of you that you're making something about it being bad or negative or hard is you making excuses for why you don't want to do it. Period. I don't care what you have to say after that. And that's the truth. And that can be emotional, that can be intellectual, it could be whatever you want it to be. It could even be physical. But when you see people like Nick Vujicic who have no arms and no legs, and the guy has no arms and no legs, and he's on a boat, or he's playing golf with like his neck and his body, and he's making holes in one. Let's not say anything about the physical process, right? If you're talking about people who are completely disheveled, can't move, but are massive intellects in the mind, like Stephen Hawking was, can't say anything about the intellect. And if we're talking about people who have been absolutely devastated their entire lives, or maybe they were hurt or physically abused or mentally abused, whatever, are some of the fucking most beautiful people in the world who end up making change in this world and helping others deal with their pain in a positive way. So you can't go there either. There's no excuse for why you can't be and do the things you want to do. There's no excuse. None. And the only one that's putting those excuses, those reasons that you can't do, is you. Oh, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough resources. I don't have this. I don't have that. It all comes down to whether or not you really want. Those things, I can't do this, and I don't have the resources, that's the same thing as trying to go from your house to the gym. And you're allowing all these people, things, to stop you from getting to the gym and acquiring the certification to become the coach who then trains people to become better. That's life. We all go through it in one way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? Like in one way, shape, or form, we all go through it. Whether it's I'm a kid, my father was a blacksmith, I'm a blacksmith, 20 years later, kink, 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 kink. It's just what it is. And before you know it, somewhere along the way, you find something or you do something. It's most of the times an accident, by the way, like Madame Curie and penicillin, doing all this and then finding something else by accident. Or you do something that over the years, it's just a little quirky thing that you do that nobody else really does. And there's, for instance, a guy on YouTube I follow, and he does jewelry, and he's really like super hardcore about his jewelry. He makes like $300,000 little pieces and stuff, but he does like this cool stuff with his tools. And so like when you're watching his video, he's just like, and then he starts like, and he's like the only one that does this, and it's just that's something that just only he does, right? And this is what I was saying the other day when I was like, listen, doesn't matter what it is that you do or that you like, if you start making videos about that thing, whatever it is, people will start to listen because there's a vibration that you create that is different than other people's vibration, whether that's a vibration in your voice, whether it's the actions that you make, whatever. And your vibration is going to attract a group of people, call it a tribe, call it a fan club. What do you want to call it? But those people will start to effectively understand your vibration. And they will say, oh, I get him. I don't get that other girl who talks about the exact same stuff, but I get him. And because I get him, I don't know what it is about him, but and that is you. There's something about you that is only you, and only the way that you will be able to produce it. And when you start to define and refine your version of you, the more it becomes palatable for the flavor of that which you are selling. I.e., I am mint chocolate chip, where somebody else is a Rocky Road. And you might like Rocky Road better, and I'm not offended by that. If anything, I'm like, yo, have you ever heard of Rocky Road? You need to go check out Rocky Road because it sounds like you like Rocky Road and not mint chocolate chip. And I'm not mad at you for liking Rocky Road. Fuck, man, we need you to like Rocky Road. I need somebody else to like strawberry. And I definitely need somebody else to like vanilla. Because if we don't have any vanilla, then we got no Rocky Road, we got no strawberry, and we got no nothing. Huh? So, what I'm getting at is that I'll kind of encompass everything if I can. One, you make the story. Your vibration, your choices, your thoughts, your thing. It's all about you. Second, whatever it is that you're going to do, you must know it. Not kind of idea it, not kind of hold on to it, not kind of maybe. No, you have to already know it. You have already done it. You have already received it. If you're not in that mindset where, oh, I already have the pen, and you're like, but wait, Paul, that's really hard to do. You're hurting me. How can I have a pen that I don't have? Okay, I get it. And it's very simple. Go find people that have that pen. Go find people that have that, whatever the thing that you want. Find a group of people who are, you like Bugattis? Find a Bugatti group somewhere within the area of where you live. If it's 30 miles away, drive 30 miles to get to the freaking Bugatti Super Club or whatever it is and meet some people, shake some hands. Maybe there's a guy there that's like in business and he's like, as a matter of fact, I need a guy like you that does sales. Yeah. And guess what I give my employees? And you're like, what's that? He's like, I give them Bugattis. You're like, what? He's like, yeah, because I'm so wealthy. Here's a Bugatti and here's a job. And you would have never known that. That could have never happened if you wouldn't have given that opportunity the possibility. But instead, you were like, oh, 30 miles is too far. Oh, I don't have a ride. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't. It's the universe allowing you to put things in front of the thing that you want and the place that you're going. Okay? So that was that. Number 3 is charge it emotionally. Charge it emotionally. They talk about the Kundalini. They talk about using your sexual energy and not playing with yourself and like really condensing that energy to really create something. And then they also talk about creating that condensation of energy and then actually going and loving yourself. No porn, no nothing, dark room or in the shower, whatever makes you feel good. And then you go to that place and you release. And while you're in that place of release, while you're in that place of connection, because believe it or not, you know, if you want to get really weird, when you are in a sexual place, you are in a sense of connection to source in a major way, because in that place of connection, when you are releasing, if you want to get really weird, you are actually calling out to the universe to send you a soul. Or at least part of one. And so by doing so, you are connecting to source in some way. And so by connecting emotionally, by controlling your body, by eating right things, by thinking good thoughts, by listening to yourself and saying to yourself that you are beautiful, that you are capable, that you can, and having people around you that believe in you is key. Having people around you that trust you is key. Having people around you that believe that what your ideas are and the things that you're trying to create are good and positive is key. So start to create positive, beautiful things that you already know are positive and beautiful, and then start giving those things away. Doesn't matter what it is. Because it's not about so much, I'm getting money out of the deal. It's a great aspect of things to be able to say, I have a ton of money and I can go travel around the world and I don't have to work a 7-day week or 8 hours a day and 5-6 days a week, busting my... It's nice to not have to live that life, but it doesn't just come to you. You have to want it so much. You have to want to accept it so much that that's the only thing that the universe can give you. Because you're not willing to get a normal job. You're not willing to do this. You're not willing to do that. And the only way to get to that place of getting somewhere, of achieving that thing, is truly wanting it. Because just saying, it's like, look, my friend Bob just came in and came out, but he helps people with drug addiction. And the one thing he said to me years ago was like, look, bro, you don't really have a problem. What you have is a want or a non-want to change, period. And if you don't have that want to change, you're never going to change. You're going to find whatever excuse you want. You're going to find whatever new group you need. You're going to find whatever person, place, or thing that you need to do, whatever you want to do, whatever excuse you want to make for you to stay in that world. Because it's comfortable for you. And without stretching yourself, without placing yourself in a place that is unlike that which you're normally in, you'll never know if it's a possibility. You'll never know if you were able to achieve that place. But it has to come first with, what is it that you really want first? 2, find other people that have achieved that thing prior to you, because they have a roadmap to get to that place. Because if you're in the desert without a map, you will always be in the desert without a map. If you walk around aimlessly in a maze, you'll never get anywhere. But if you put your left hand on the left wall of a maze, you will get out. It's inevitable. You have to. And that's like one of the things that it's like that small piece of knowledge is a very important piece of knowledge. That if you didn't know that, walking into a maze, you could just put your hand on one wall and just walk the whole maze. If you didn't know that, then you could spend your entire life walking the maze and always going to dead ends. So the answer is that you must have a map. And if you don't have a map, then you need to have at least an idea. Right? And if that idea is nothing more than something in your mind, then you need to bring that idea to fruition for the world to see. And the only way for you to do that is to obsess incessantly upon that idea, about everything that is that idea. Right? Not just, I want this thing, I want this thing, I want this thing. No, it's, how do I achieve this thing? How do I take care of this thing once I have it? How do I make that thing better once I get it? And so in the mind, there is no spot for denial, whatever refuse, whatever trash you want to place in your mind. It's not there. It does not have space to fit. Because you have obsessed about everything else. You've worried about everything else. It's like, put it in this mind. You're in a boat, right? And your negative thoughts are literally holes in your boat. And it takes work to literally take a piece of what am I looking for? Cork. It takes work to go get the cork and dink, 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 dink into the negative hole that you've created. You've already created the ship. If you have a ship in your mind, right? And you're like, I've got this idea for a ship and I'm going to build a ship. And you go out and you did the resources and you create the wood and you cut the thing and you put it together. And then you go out into the water and you're there and you're like, I don't know. I don't think this boat's that good. And you've already built a boat. You're already on the water, right? And while you're on the water, you're like, I don't know if this boat's that good. Let me try and fix it. And you start sinking. Because you're now, and that's the same kind of idea as trying to create two different things at the same time. You've already made a boat. You're already on the boat. And then all of a sudden you're like, nah, I don't want to be... Boat A is, let's say, magician. I don't want to be a magician. Jump ship, swim around the water. You've got nothing. You're trying to hold on to water. You can't. And then all of a sudden, another idea, piece of wood, driftwood, piece of tree that fell down, comes by and you're like, I'm going to be an artist. And then you go and you take the wood and you get to the side of the thing and you start chopping away at the wood to create a new boat. How do you expect to ever have a yacht or a sailboat or anything? You'll have a bunch of really cool projects. You could take your friends. You could be like, hey, let me take you down memory lane of the river of my life. I've got boat number 1 over here. I've got boat number 2 over there. Did I tell you about boat number 25 and 26? Yeah, because I've got those two. And you'll never get anywhere. You would have had an amazing life. Don't get me wrong. And I can prove that. I've had an amazing life, but you won't get anywhere. You'll have done things, and that's okay, because this isn't a place about getting somewhere. You don't have to get anywhere. You're just here to do stuff. But if you want to do something that leaves a legacy for others to learn from, for others to have a easier, better life than you did, then guess what, dude? Concentrate on one thing. And then concentrate on that thing so heavily and so hard that it's the only thing you know. And by the time you're done, you are a somewhat expert on that thing. Because by the time you're done, there's some kid who came in at 20 years old who was a super genius who took some of the ideas that you came up with and flipped them on their head and did something else and whomp. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, thank you. Thank you for, and then he comes to you when you're on your deathbed and he goes, hey man, you're Paul Carpenter, bro. Oh my God, dude, it's so nice to meet you. And you're like an old man. You're like, and he's like, bro, I've been watching all of your videos since I was a little kid, sometimes on repeat, and the truth is, bro, fuck. Thank you, bro. You made my life easier. I didn't have a dad, or I didn't have a mom, or I didn't have a brother, or I didn't have this, or I didn't have that. And whatever it was that you did and the way that you did it, bro, I don't know. It just hit home, bro. And I want to say thank you. Because in the end, that's all we want. In the end, we don't care about the money. We don't care about the amount of fame and fortune. We really don't. What we really care about at the very end of it all is, like the other day, I made a balloon for a kid on the bus. Told the story yesterday. And the whole time, it's going to sound a little stupid, but the whole time in my back of my head, I'm like, she never said thank you. Right? And then she's walking off the bus, and her mom, of course, like any good parent would do, says, hey, say thank you. And the little girl looks at me, and she goes, thank you, mister! And I was just like, and the stupidest thing in the world, which is a balloon for a kid, and the happiness and the thankfulness and the gratitude. That's all we care about in the end. We just want to be recognized and be given some gratitude and be able to give some gratitude. Woo! So, with that, my friends, you've reached the end of the video. Please go out of the world, do something nice for somebody else. If you can't, do something nice for yourself. It does start with you, my friends, 100% you. Number 2, don't get caught up in all the crazy stuff in this world, because if you do, then you end up all crazy and angry, and that's not good. And number 3, if you would not mind, please like, share, subscribe. Send these videos out to somebody who wants to see them. I've got a Patreon, a Cash App, a Venmo, any kind of form of money-giving thing that you want to do. Bro, please send me some money. I don't say no to that stuff. And number, if you would like, every single one of my videos that I've ever produced from beginning of day one, I think there's like 500 something videos on YouTube. They're all on YouTube. And also, if you look up on Facebook and you go to Facebook and then you go to my name, David Carpenter, there's a little tab. You gotta look for it. But it says videos. And if you go to that video, bro, have fun with 10 years of entertainment from me in the mornings. And with that, my friends, we've really, 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 really now reached the absolute end of the video. And at this point, what I would ask for you is, if you would not mind with me, take a deep breath. Ready? Breathe in the good. Put all that negative out. Put all your past away from you. Put that past and problems and trauma and negativity and anger and frustration. And when somebody does something that bothers you today, let it the fuck go and walk away, because you don't have enough time on this planet to stress over nothing. And guess what? Things like that are literally nothing taking away from the goodness of what could be. And that goodness can only be when you are good. Know what I mean? So with that, my friends, I appreciate you, I love you, and I thank you. And I thank you so much. I love you all so much. I'll see you all on the other side.